Thank you, Knight of Beauty. In that case, let's make our way to the end. Penacony's really thronging with talent. I hope we make it in time.
Congratulations to the both of you on becoming the As previously promised, my sister, Mr. Yang, and I have met with the Dream Master. Both We acknowledge the perspective of you, Nameless. Penacony does require change, but not as you propose. The planet of... Through your journey of overcoming obstacles, you must have glimpsed the essence of that era. Ultimately, only heroes like... But I would dare ask, if you did a dystopia for the survival of the fittest, or a sweet dream paradise?
Mr. Sunday, even if the members of the Oak family can't fully agree on what to do about the Stellaron issue concerns the life and death of everyone. This way, we'll at least...
Navik, let's talk about our tribute and our final course of action.
You mean to say...
Indeed, Dream Master.
This is... Do you have...
I'd like to ask. If I have offended, the Astral Express extends its sincere apologies.
Dream Master, it's just to prove that...
Sunday, Robin, the magnitude of this matter is enormous. Sunday, might I ask you to beseech them?
I will do as you can.
Robin, could I entrust you to be present as a witness?
I will do as you...
May thy will be carried out on earth.
Oh, triple-faced soul, please sear...
Let us begin.
Understood. Question.
Naturally.
Do you love your god?
Naturally.
Have you strayed from...
Never.
Have you ever been inordinate?
Never.
Then... Do you swear to fulfill...
With the Eon as my witness.
They have seen...
Just a moment. I have another question. To my understanding, the god you both mentioned...
Mr. Yang should know that those belonging to the family toil together as if they were such a delicate...
Perfectly harmonized. Therein lies the problem. It isn't an outsider lurking in the shadows who changed the harmony. In the distant past, later, though an eon may...
Mr. Yang being overly... For the sake of a...
What?
Sorry, Robin. It's just you...
So, this is the true reason I can't see...
We were never children of the harmony. Our ideal paradise within the foundation of law and through harmony. I just gave them some...
You should know that these actions make you an enemy.
Should we need to stand against the Nameless, it would only be myself. Your efforts for the justice of Penacony are evident. Patience is a virtue. However...
If it is the order that drove you to imprison Welt and Robin, and you're using them to coerce our compliance...
You're mistaken, Miss Himiko. They are in very safe hands, and just as the family has always proclaimed, no one can be harmed in the dreamscape. Penacony and the entire universe have witnessed far too much innocent bloodshed. The strong, natural selection. The world abides by this principle, establishing the well-being of humanity atop the...
So you've decided to resurrect a dead Eon? No one's ever...
If Miss Himiko is interested, let's draw back the veil and speak candidly. I've always firmly believed that people can understand. I'm willing to divulge the unembellished truth as to the intentions of the Order's Pathstriders, so that you will make better judgment for the So, come with me, everyone.
Huh? Where do you go?
Welcome. This isn't any location in Penacony's dreamscape. It's my inner world.
That means...
Did you do the same to Welt?
It's a tuning process. Stronger in effect and more draining on the mind. Tuning allows you to intuitively grasp my feelings, which also... Now, everyone, please look at the huge screen. From this point on, you will witness the numerous... I believe after going through similar predicament. Let's begin. The first... This story happened when Robin and I were very young. We were victims of the step later on. Robin and I lived a time with nary a care in the world. That baby bird was tiny. It didn't even have all of its feathers. We decided to build a nest for it right there and then. However, it was clear that if we left we decided that when it regained its strength enough to spread its wings, its destiny was determined by our momentary whim. Now, I pass the power of choice to you all. Faced with this situation, what choice would you make? Stick to the original plan and build a nest with soft net where the Charmony dove fell. Or build a cage for it and feed it, giving it the utmost care from within the warmth of a home. I eagerly await your answer. Interesting. Since you've made up your mind, allow me, from what I've observed, there are at least 3 predators in that yard that prey on small birds. The Vossicles, even if they shy away from humans, these animals are still near apex predators in a fenced location like a yard. As for the choice you made, I am deeply sorry. Now, this story happened when I was appointed as Bronze Melodia, a position it was during that period that I had the opportunity to hear voices from all corners of the dreamscape. He was a dream chaser and an illegal stowaway. Just like the rest of them, he came to Penacony in search of a better life, except that, to most people, The price he paid. I suppose you could say it was everything. He told me I sold everything I could at home. The house, the land, even his 2 children. He said he could not afford to raise them, and that at least they could eat if they lived as slaves. He had a plan in place. He would buy back his children once he had made his fortune, and enjoy Penacony's beautiful dream with them. Alas, his plan to smuggle himself was somewhat clumsy, and he was sniffed out by those pig-headed hounds. After hearing the Dream Chaser's story, I immediately appealed to the Bloodhound family to cease their pursuit. That way, at least he could live peacefully. But I was still too naive to the ways of the world. I did not anticipate that what I thought was a kind gesture would later lead to dire consequences. I'll tell you the outcome soon. For now, I'd like you all to make a choice. Will you do as I did, and try to convince the Bloodhound family to stop their pursuit, so that the Dream Chaser may live peacefully and realize his wishes? Or will you remain silent, leaving him to languish while the hounds are hot on his heels, until his inevitable judgment arrives? I look forward to everyone's decisions. Who knows? Perhaps they might even alter the outcome of this tragedy. I'm honored to witness you arriving at the same decision. Out of respect, I'll share with you the dire. First, the outcome. He attained major success. After avoiding capture, he ran a business for a few years, very quickly making a name for himself, elevating his status. Now then, did he realize the wish he set out to achieve? No. The last time I saw him was in the real world, where the hounds were going to permanently exile him, and I was the accompanying Bronze Melodia. The mission was simple. Listen to the criminal's repentance. He told me the reason he was in this predicament was because he conspired to usurp the head of the Alfalfa family. When I asked him about his 2 children, he instead responded with a question. What children? In the end, my heart aligned with the harmony, and the good deed I dared to undertake held no value, turning instead into a wrongdoing. It created a lamentable oppressor and countless oppressed individuals. As to your choice, I once again offer my heartfelt apologies. Next comes the third and final decision. And the story this time is my own. This story happened the day I was appointed the Oak family head. At that time, Mr. Gopherwood was the current Dream Master, and as per his wish, we had a private conversation. What surprised me was that the Dream Master had only come to deliver a letter to me. He let me read its contents, and it was a letter from my sister. The letter contained the usual pleasantries, anecdotes from her travels, nothing out of the ordinary. Just as I started wondering how this letter related to our discussion, the Dream Master began to speak.
Do you know who wrote this letter?
My sister, of course. But why would you personally visit me to hand me a letter from my sister containing mere trivialities?
To help you grasp the full scope of this issue. Do you know where Robin is at this moment?
From what the letter indicates, she must be in Caspelina 8, correct? She's touring there right now.
Correct. Has she mentioned anything about a stray bullet?
A stray bullet? What?
A war has broken out on that planet. It is because of this very reason that Robin chose this destination. To spread the word of the Harmony. And to save the lives of that planet. She personally made for the front lines. She hoped to ease the people's suffering with song, and was willing to brave mortal danger to deliver the IPC's medical supplies. Unfortunately, stray bullets show no such compassion.
Is she all right?
If the operation was successful, she should probably be recovering in the field hospital. By the eon above, the bullet struck her neck directly, yet possibly as a reward for her consistent deeds of harmony. It didn't hit any vital arteries. Once you've attended to your outstanding tasks, it'd be advisable to write her back as soon as possible.
Those damned savages! I'll pack my bags right away. My gratitude for bringing this to my attention, Mr. Gopherwood. Now you understand why she always wears such elaborate neck ornaments, don't you?
How could this happen? Miss Robin.
It's all in the past, so please don't worry. I share this in the meager hope that you will understand the Harmony's limitations and predicament. As grandiose as the strong defending the weak sounds, many times, it is nothing more than wishful thinking. Likewise, I've prepared one last question, one last choice. But rest assured, this choice will not have any grave consequences. Because this is merely a figment of imagination, a nightmare that has haunted me through countless nights. If you ever had the opportunity to make a choice like I did, would you still support Robin's journey on the path of harmony? I am now aware of everyone's stances. Raising these questions merely serves to illustrate one point. The plight of Penacony cannot be salvaged by the Harmony. The true foundation for a sweet dream I know the suffering of being tormented. The turmoil of losing your way. How sorrow, and even despair, set in when matters don't work out. All of this causes me unending pain. We must teach the weak how to live a happy life. And this life isn't some noble propriety that the upper crust preaches, but in definitive terms, a way of survival that belongs to everyone.
So what is your definition of living a happy life?
Good question. Human consciousness is fundamentally an illusion. a cage known as self-worth. People lured in by this illusion make mistakes, yet still ask that external influences bear the burden. When one mistake after the next permeates the masses, they become impossible to trace. Thus, the amassing of these individual cages culminate to form a prison, a place dictated only by the rule of survival of the fittest. Nature is always accompanied by predation and sacrifice. Its antithesis is known as order. That is what I want to do. Unite people's happiness under the banner of order. They won't need to make bitter choices any longer, nor face the weaknesses of humanity. They can cast aside their primal instincts to build a haven for mankind. Simply describing thoughts is far too abstract, so allow me to provide a simple example. As you all may know, there are societal norms like weekends and long weekends that exist on some worlds. During these hard-earned rest days, people are given the chance to extricate themselves from the stresses of everyday life, allowing a certain tranquility to return to their souls. And it is only on these days that people do not have to adhere to the law where the strong prey on the weak. They can live out their lives happily during these brief intermissions. It's just a pity that 2 or 3 days are still too fleeting compared to the span of a lifetime. From where I stand, society's ideal system should be 7 rest days. Following Sunday, there should ensue a second, a third, and indeed an infinite procession of Sundays. This should be the face of the new world. Idyllic, eternal, peaceful days. And thus, every person can return to their base selves in this utopia. Some gaze in reverence at the stars, pouring their whole beings into calculating the distance between us and the isolated world of Pagana. Meanwhile, some seek refuge in quiet corners, holding one another, unencumbered by the chains of unwelcome obligations. There would be no need to bear the hardships of reality. Only in this way can humanity face the inevitable end with the purest of spirit, living a life of dignity. This is what it is to live in bliss. Miss Firefly, you who are stricken with entropy loss syndrome, you of all would surely understand this.
It sounds like a flawless theory. But what is the price to attain all this?
The cost is minute, merely a personal and eternal sacrifice. If this paradise is to be maintained for everyone, someone must remain trapped in solitary wakening until the end of the cosmos.
Awakening. Which means that this so-called paradise is still a dream. Stepping into this paradise means forsaking reality, correct?
It is not forsaking, but transcending. Flesh, blood, sorrow, weakness. If the physical is the root of spiritual suffering, it is only logical that we defeat it.
But in this supposed bliss, people won't have defeated their demons. The chance to overcome their tribulations would be forever lost to them. In other words, it is an escape.
That's another way of understanding it. But there is no shame in escape. On the contrary, The seeds of escape exist in everyone's hearts. Don't you agree, Miss Firefly? And as to why we sleep, it is because we are afraid to awaken from our dreams. But this is not in conflict with the grand plan. Only in acknowledging this can we truly understand the frailty of human nature, and from there, show compassion and protection.
I admit that you are a born leader. Your perspective on humanity brims with pessimism. Yet you express compassion for all, even when your heart pities them. But unlike you, I live for the self. From my perspective, individuals making choices for themselves is their birthright. The want to escape may be innate in the weak. But whether they are weak or not, it is not up to another to decide. Perhaps in your mind, you also view me as weak? Because I don't think so.
Since Miss Firefly has said her piece, the Astral Express will also naturally give you our answer. We'll leave it to you. Just as Mr. McHale instructed before. Tell him our...
What is this place?
Does this place ring any bell?
I don't know.
It's the realm within a dream bubble. This was left to the astral. Dr. Edward from the Dreamscape sales store told me that, so I thought you might be able to help us in unraveling this mystery, Misha.
I don't know much about dream bubbles.
I'm counting on you then.
Himeko, I still don't get it. Why were you so sure that Misha...
I wasn't sure. It was just a hunch. But since Misha feels familiar with this place... Exactly. This is where you and Firefly encountered death. The question now is, who brought you here? Based on the clues we have, we're drawing closer to the truth once more. Let's give me...
All right, but there are doors all over the...
I guess... maybe... I'm not entirely sure, but... let's give it a try.
Wait, you managed to choose the right door?
Weird. This place is... if I remember correctly, there should be a... And the room on the other side was... the toy room. I loved spreading out all the toys from the box on the floor and... Hold on. This doesn't make sense. Didn't I grow up in Dreamflux?
This could be a case of amnesia. Don't worry, Misha. It's common for everyone to forget certain aspects of the past. Since this place seems familiar to you, why don't we explore a few more rooms?
Yeah. Then let's check out the...
Mikhail, that's the name? So, who is he talking?
I'm sorry. I don't...
Anything special about that name?
Mikhail is...
Grandpa? Do you mean...
But we haven't heard anything about the watchmaker having descendants. And the name Mikhail is not right. Could you tell us more about your grandpa, Mikhail?
Yeah, sure. He was a seafarer who fearlessly ventured into mysterious seas and storms. He was always on the sea and had lots of friends who accompanied him on his travels. He didn't want me to call him Grandpa because that would make him sound old. He believed he was still young. The name Mikhail was given to him by his parents, Mihaly and Elise, both renowned seafarers. Every time he came back, he'd share his logbook with me and tell me about his adventures at sea. I want to become a great adventurer, just like him.
It appears that the seafarer has nothing to do with the watchmaker. So where is your grandpa?
He went off on a new journey. So, where has Clocky gone? Did he leave to protect Dreamville? I heard some noises from the room. Origami Bird? That's a friend of mine.
You and Origami Bird are friends?
Yeah. It's a member of the Compass crew, just like Clocky and Miss Mirror. And there's more than just one Origami Bird. They are a big family with lots of brothers and sisters who look the same. They follow Miss Mirror's orders and handle all sorts of jobs on the ship. They're the best sailors.
Sailors? Can origami birds be sailors?
Could you tell us more about the compass, Misha?
The Compass is a ship bound for the New World. Clocky and his partners travel through layers of fog to the depths of the sea. Whenever there is danger, Clocky will use a compass and guide the ship in the right direction.
That's a great story. But in the Penacony cartoon, Clocky and his partners have always lived in Dreamville and never ventured out, right?
Huh? Oh, that does seem to be the case. Weird. I clearly remember Clocky arrived in the New World in the end.
Perhaps Clocky has a hidden past.
I think I hear the sound of water.
You once mentioned there's a magnificent fountain up ahead. Look, there it is!
The water resembles a precious jewel every time I gaze at the shimmering lights beneath the waves.
Have you recalled anything, Misha?
Yeah, I saw these sentences in Grandpa's logbook. He used to say that despite the perils of the sea, whenever he stood on the deck in the afternoon, overlooking the sparkling waves, he often said that those moments felt like returning.
You know, I quite understand such sentiments. Hey, don't tease! I was just being a bit sentimental.
Perhaps every adventurer far from home carries a fountain within their soul. Even though the other side of the sea remains shrouded in the unknown, the fountain in front of his house serves as a compass, leading him back to his cherished ones.
Yeah, while Grandpa was at home, we would stand by the fountain and place the compass, a toy boat that I made, into the pool. Back then, I would ask him when I could go on adventures like him, and he would always laugh and say I was still too young.
It seems this Mikhail is truly a seafarer and has nothing to do with the watchmaker.
Yeah, based on Misha's recollections, the scenes in the dream bubble appear to be his childhood memories.
But this raises more questions. According to Misha, he was clearly born on an oceanic planet and led an ordinary life, with no connection to Penacony at all. Could this be some sort of metaphor? Perhaps the sea refers to the memory zone.
I'm sorry. I don't know, but my memories keep pouring out uncontrollably, like water flowing from a fountain. Perhaps I'll I'll remember more things if we go further. I wish to share your burden.
We're going to the opposite side, right?
No, we should turn left here.
Uh-huh. Something feels different about this place.
Up ahead is Grandpa's study.
The atmosphere in this room feels...
Misha! You finally come!
Clocky, you're here!
Are those books on the bookshelf logbooks left behind by that sea?
Yeah. Whenever he came back, he described our world as a fount to ensure that everyone had land to settle on. He had to continue exploring. On that day, he called me to his study, I asked him if I could go with him, but he said that my adventure...
What sound?
He told me about a vast ocean in the sky. An ocean of stars. He said that he knew the crew on the train, and that he had asked them to take me along. He said the journey I had always dreamed of would start there.
A train? Could it be...
It's the Astral Express. I remember now. Grandpa's friends are a group of nameless who came to this world to resolve a disaster caused by a star. Then, he gave his pocket watch to me. It was his cherished treasure, appearing in every one of his adventure tales. He explained that difficult times were ahead, but assured me that the watch would guide me. He said, as long as I kept moving forward, I'd eventually reach my desired destination. And then, it was as if I heard the distant sound of a train whistle echoing throughout the room.
Exactly, Misha! And then we followed that whistle, didn't we?
Yeah. I think I can still find the way we took back then.
This is the dream jigsaw, right? So we're supposed to find the exit.
Do you remember? You said you obtained a
Hey, the shape seems to match.
Looks like we're just one step from revealing...
This is it. This, while I spent my time waiting for Grandpa to return from here, I learned how to repair clockwork and gears out of my fondness of precision mechanics. In my dreams, I was the captain of the compass, embarking on adventures with my companions, Clocky and Miss Mirror, in search of I was born and raised here.
So, this building in the dream bubble is your childhood home?
Yes, but not exactly. To be more precise, this dream bubble itself is my home.
Looks like you've remembered everything.
Wait. Why does it feel like everyone else knows something I don't?
March, do you remember when he mentioned a clocky that...
Yeah, the little guy here, right? But we all saw him in Dreamflux Reef.
Looks like everyone on the Astral Express has a childlike spirit.
The answer lies in the Astral Express. His experience shows that, and when we were in Dreamflux Reef, you may have noticed that for some reason, nobody outside of the crew a mimetic life that can only be seen by a select few.
But Misha can see Clocky too, right? They even grew up together. But Misha hasn't started the way of the...
That's the key to the mystery, March. Now, take a moment to recall. Have you ever seen anyone outside of the crew interact?
Wait. No!
That's the answer, March 7th. This dream bubble is the place where I was born. And I should have stayed here and waited for you. But when reality and memories merged, I unconsciously pushed open that door and left the bubble with Clocky.
So it's not that the Watchmaker's dream bubble is empty, but... and the whistle you heard was the sound of the express...
That's one way to see it, but I believe there's a longer story behind all this. How about we start with your name?
Thank you all for helping me rediscover my true self. I was born on Lushaka, in the Presmere system, adopted by seafarers Mikhail Char Legwork, or simply Misha. If you prefer, you can call me by a more familiar name.
So, you're the...
Unfortunately, that legendary figure. As for the child who has been with you, he's the innocent protagonist of Misha's childhood dream. A friend. And this also marks the beginning of his journey.
At the end of the journey, I left this little flame. However, he somehow left the dream bubble and forgot all about his task. I apologize for all the
Because he was born with a desire to... I don't think Misha has forgotten his role as a guide. He remembered it, and that's why he mistakenly appeared as a host. The one who brought our unconscious friend here must have been Misha. If that's the case, we encountered the Watchmaker's legacy.
Well, I have a sarcastic friend who says I always take big detours and end up back where I started. But in the end, you found me. If I may apologize, the Stellaron part is real. I left my homeland as a child and embarked on the journey of Trailblaze. I've been moving forward all my life, doing what I could to overcome. So, if you ask what's left within this, now that you're well aware of the current situation of Penacony, I certainly hope that you'll help me get this world back on track. But I'll leave that decision to you. For the path, all I have for you is a story and 2 gifts. I want to give you my pocket watch. It has accompanied me throughout my long journey, and my hat too. The one who navigated for me placed it on my... Now, it's time for you to make your choice. Once you've made up your mind, open that door. I'll be waiting for you at the end of this corridor of time.
All right, everyone. Let's meet. Although I don't think anyone will have any objection.
Of course. We've come this far.
In that case, then let's proceed together to the end of this dream.